Many countries view India as the largest democracy in the world because the only competition China is busy building Damar roads in Pakistan, or as the fastest growing economy in the world because the only competition China is busy building Damar roads in Pakistan. The thing is, while Pakistan is busy asking, "What is India?" China is busy spying about, "How is India?" And the US, like the sweet little ignorant puppy that they are, is asking, "Where is India?" It puts the onus on us to talk about how we think about them. In India, Pakistan is the national repository of all the bad things in the country, but in a sarcastic way. Here's an example. Let's say you're having a nice cup of tea on the side of the road, and suddenly some guy dumps a pile of trash under an old Vodafone banner. RIP, buddy, your ads will forever be missed. And you say something like, "Oh man, I wish my country was a little cleaner, you know?" And the guy right next to you says, "Oh, oh, you think India is dirty? Why don't you just go to Pakistan?" And spits his tobacco on the footpath and walks away. In India, if Sharma ji ka beta is the gold standard for anything, go to Pakistan is the lowest standard. An average Indian has to always navigate between the two every day. And I bet it's the same on the other side of the border too. What we forget is, in spite of all our differences, both of us are absolutely mid when it comes to most of the stats in the world. But that's India and Pakistan for you. Divided by needless politics, united by piss poor HDI. The world's most mass-produced products. Yes, it's not people anymore. We we beat them to it. India views China as a marketplace for mass production and cheap labor, which is very rich coming from us. Most people think that the Make in India campaign was to promote indigenous goods, but it was done mainly to fuck with China. It was a very emotional pan India campaign that read, "You don't get to make 15 different fakes of Rolex and Armani, China. Not anymore. We do." If you ask the other set of Indians on their thoughts about China, they will talk about how your Chinese smartphone, washing machine, underwear, and the terrible looking software have all spies installed in them. Because, of course, that is what the general public is afraid of. That the spies in Beijing will one day know that you typed Sydney Sweeney's tits at 1 a.m. on a Monday and cried yourself to sleep 3 minutes later. An American actress watched by an Indian audience on a Chinese smartphone. Wow, globalization peaked here, fellas, and we made it happen. India mostly has a one-way relationship with US, and I mean literally because once they leave for America, most prefer not to come back. It is not surprising to find that Indians follow all their music, know their celebrities by their nicknames, and use their brands to flex on other Indians. The first thing that an Indian does after buying a Tesla is tweet Elon, of course. And the second thing he does is send a picture to his friend in Delhi mentioning how he would fuck the car if it had an engine oil. The fact is, most Indians know what is happening in Detroit more than what's happening in Chandigarh. On the other hand, the only time US gives two shits about India is when Modi has his annual health checkup in US or when the Democrats fawn over Kamala when she mentions India as part of her childhood backstory. This naturally leads to some Indians resenting the country. So, what do you do when the person you love doesn't love you back? You throw acid on her face, exactly. Acids like they would rather shoot kids than criminals, they love their dogs more than their parents, there are more married couples splitting up than average tumor cells, and please take me in, I'm ready to work for $2 an hour. Which, to be fair, are all true. People who are interested in South Korea belong to only two demographics. Any female aged between 13 and 36 who have had their ovaries burst by solely watching K dramas, and the three guys who invested $1 million in Samsung shares. India is no different, which leaves a huge proportion of the population living fairly decent lives. Most Indians, if you were to ask them, would likely say, "What does it matter, bro? These Chinese, Japanese, and Koreans, they all look the same." And you might say that's racist, which is why I said most Indians. India views Russia like that distant cousin who supplies you weed, and so you have to pretend to be friends with him even if he's a little shady. So one day, when he starts attacking his neighbors and threatens to kill them, and everyone is looking at you to give a solid statement, you're like, it can't be all that bad, guys. I mean, come on, he loves Jesus. That's a good thing, right? Also, the more Indians look at Russia's war situation, the more it reminds them of themselves. So, did you look at Russia? Half their army budget just goes into corrupt government officials. Uh huh. And they have this huge battalion reserve, okay? But most of them are just poorly trained. Mm hmm. And my god, their equipment, they do not work at all. By the way, where did you say you get your guns from? Uh, fuck. The other unfortunate thing about Russia is the way how some Indian men use their women as a derogatory term, and as a feminist, I absolutely do not stand by it. So, if a woman can be objectified, I say men should be objectified too. I mean, just look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Our men couldn't compete with that. I'm just glad they are not our neighbors. For completely different reasons, Ukraine. Shut up. The fourth best portfolio option after FD, shares, and real estate. Considering the British ruled us for over 190 years, anything we say about them is either PTSD or Stockholm Syndrome. So, say, writing a book about how the colonial rule had a devastating effect on India, yeah, that's PTSD. Being born in London and publishing the same book there, that's Stockholm Syndrome. But I believe there's a lot more give and take. For instance, they handed us the Champions Trophy but wrecked us in semi-finals. But majorly, the relationship between India and UK is defined by how each other royally fuck up whatever the other gives. For instance, they gave us the railways, we fucked it up. We gave them tea, they fucked it up. They gave us urban planning, we fucked it up. We gave them Rishi Sunak, he fucked it up. Anything here that's not UK is Europe to us. We know there's Germany, France, and Italy somewhere, thanks to MS Paris and pizza, but you can't have places the size of Goa and Delhi and get to call them a country, okay? Please. When we travel 200 kilometers, we call it a picnic trip. When they travel 200 kilometers, it's bloody immigration. Look at it this way, we treat the EU like a single country more than the EU treats itself. Ugh. Look, I only have to say this. I'm ready to leave everything and join an Australian university if it means Travis Head's daughter has one less seat to get a scholarship someday. Hey, Narcos! Here's how India's relationship is with some of the most dangerous countries in the world. North Korea. Hey, we ain't got no beef with you. You do you, mate. No problems at all. Afghanistan. Yo, brother, you need some help? Tell me. You need some help? I'm here, bro. 24/7, I'm here for you. Here's how India's relationship is with Canada. You lying ass piece of bitch. You got proof? Tell me. You wanna fight me? Huh? You better be ready with some proof, asshole. In my opinion, the Japs would have been our best friends if not for the language and the 6,000 huge as Pacific barrier. Here's why. A little extra focus on culture, respect, and traditions? Check. No concept of work-life balance? Oh, check. Cities that are unable to sustain its own population? Checkity check. Get confused with their neighbor whom they absolutely abhor? Check, check, check. Oh, speaking of, by the way, during the duration of this video, China just built another Damar road in Pakistan.